Stand Tall presents It Only Takes One.
No, my baby, you can't do this to me.
What? How am I there, but I'm right here? Mom! 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 Mom, look at me!
She can't hear you, Diego.
Why am I, like, and why is she crying?
You don't remember?
Remember what?
Remember what happened that night?
All I remember is that me and Alex were talking about some kind of party.
Hey, Diego! Want to come over tonight? My parents aren't coming home and I got the keys to the liquor cabinet.
No thanks. I don't
Hey.
drink.
Hey, just try it.
No.
Want to just come over then?
Yeah, I'll just go over, then you just go ask Mom.
So you talked to Alex, and then what did you do?
I don't. Oh yeah, I want to go ask my mom for permission. Who's not gonna go?
Jenna, Jesse, and Sarah all come over tonight. It's gonna be a good time.
Oh, nice. Hey Mom.
Oh, hey, boys.
Hi. Hey, Mom.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what are you making?
Just some dinner.
Looks good.
Can I go to a party?
Sure, what do you have planned?
Nothing much, just a couple friends coming over.
Usual.
Sounds like fun.
Alrighty, thanks Mom.
Yep. Bye,
Alright,
boys.
Love you.
Love you too.
Love you.
So you talked to your mom.
Yeah, I talked to my mom and I don't remember what happened next.
What'd you say to her?
Oh, I told her I loved her.
You said you wouldn't drink. So how did you end up like that?
Strike! Woo!
Whose turn is it now?
Sarah's.
Come on, Sarah.
Hate those gutters. Okay.
Woo! That shit wasn't that bad.
Hey, my turn. Thanks. Strike!
Yeah, go
Diego!
Hey guys, look what I got.
Alex, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm just trying to have some fun.
We already are having fun.
Suit yourself.
Here, Jenna, you can play now.
Hey, want one?
No, I told you I was going to drink.
Hey, just try it.
No, I never had it before.
Hey, yeah, bye.
But,
So when he asked you, what did you say to him?
I don't remember, but how did I get there? Hey guys, can I play?
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
Diego, what's wrong with you?
No, nothing.
Is he drunk?
He's
definitely
drunk.
Hey, Diego, want another one?
Oh, yeah, thanks, man.
How many of those did you have?
I don't remember. I lost count. Oh. Guys, I don't feel so good.
Here, lay down.
Does anyone else smell vomit?
Yeah, that's Diego.
That's disgusting.
I can't believe you'd do something like that.
I know, he was never that kind of kid.
Neither was Alex, but I just don't get why they would do this.
Yeah. You think we should go wake him up and take him home?
Probably. Hey, Diego, wake up.
Diego? Diego. Oh my god, he's really cold. And his hands are all gross.
Is he breathing?
Oh my god, guys.
Hey, Diego. Diego, you didn't fall asleep on me, man, did you? Hey, Diego, wake up. Hey, Diego.
We need help.
I can't can't believe I did that. It's so stupid of me. Like, I let my mom down. My friends probably hate me. I can't believe Alex talked me into it.
But Alex didn't say yes. Alex didn't take the first sip. Alex didn't make you do it. You couldn't stop.
I'm sorry,
See. I would have everyone seated except Diego. Because Diego is not on the same realm as these people right now, right? His character is somewhere, and we're not sure where that is. But if he sits with the rest of these people, it looks like he's on the same plane, astral plane, as that physical plane. So I would put him in the center, and I would put Mom in the center. Where's Mom? And I would have you stand as well. And you can slide in. And I would even have you co-process. Don't you think that'd be cool to have her because do you usually do the processing?
I usually do the processing when we talk, but I'll ask the question.
Oh, okay, great, good. Then that's exactly what we'll do. Because everybody does this differently. And different scenes require different kinds of processing. You don't process every scene with the full meal deal like we're going to do here. I'll talk about that in a minute. Actor guidelines. Actors, you're on stage, you're relaxed, a little more relaxed than during the scene. You could take this opportunity to fool around and talk. But if you do, what do you think will happen? Your audience is going to fool around and talk. And they're not going to take seriously what you just did. So really keep your focus. Even though it's kind of hard to do at this point, this is crucial. Focus on the facilitator. And even if you think your character would curse, use appropriate language, okay? You plan what kind of processing you're going to do in advance, and you practice it so that you're not caught too much off guard. Even though there are surprises, though, aren't there, Janet? I mean, sometimes out of nowhere, a question will come that you didn't anticipate. Deep cleansing breath. The types of closure are as follows. We're going to do the full meal deal in character and out of character. Okay? The second part, which is out of character, is really giving testimonials or facts. That's actors just kind of talking about their experience and their knowledge, with sharing that with the audience. So that's really this. And then I don't think anybody really uses this particular type unless you're in an overnight camp setting where you do activities or games, or if it's a lock-in. There might be activities or games that reflect back on the topics. But the purpose of this is to drive home your teaching points. Nice cleansing breath. The 5 F words of in and out of character processing. Facts, feelings, and focusing in are all done in character. I'll ask the actors to step out of character when we've completed the first 3 steps, and we'll conclude with the last 2, finding the connection to the community and finishing up with some final information. You choose, and you prepare. So we're going to imagine that they just finished this scene, and I would start by establishing what the facts were. So I might say to this 9th grade audience, 9th graders, well-behaved 9th graders, I might say, thank you for being a wonderful audience. I'm wondering if you could just take a minute to share with us, what did you see happening in this scene? Tanae. Yeah, you.
Diego said he wasn't going to go to a party. Or no, he said he was going to go to a party with his friend Alex, but he wasn't going to drink, and then he ended up drinking.
He ended up drinking. Okay, good. Anybody else? Thank you. What did you see happening in the scene? What did you see happen, or what do you think happened? Yes?
Even though his friends didn't want to drink, around him, except, of course, Alex. And they, discouraged it. He still didn't.
Yep. Okay, good. Thank you. What else did you see? What was the What were some of the consequences that they experienced as a result? Yes.
His friend lost him
He lost his friend as a friend. What else were some of the consequences that you perceived?
His mom was crying.
His mom was a mess. What do you think happened to Diego? What do you guys think might have happened to him? Without moving from where you're seated, please pick a partner. Somebody you are going to, not you guys, but you guys. Somebody you're going to talk to. Pick a partner. Make sure nobody gets left out, so ask everybody around you if they have a partner. Discuss with your partner what you think happened to Diego. I'll give you about 15 seconds. See if you can figure out what do you think happened to him. Well, I've asked the actors to stay in character, and this will give us an opportunity to talk to them about what really is happening and kind of about what they're going through as friends and family members. So now we're just going to talk about feelings. Now, there's a number of ways you can do this. I recommend you have a series of questions planned in advance that you do ask. But sometimes you can also open the floor up to the audience. Sometimes they'll play along, and sometimes they won't. That's why you have questions prepared in advance. So help me now, though, by helping me come up with what might be some interesting questions that kids would want to ask, but they're too scared to ask.
Ask Alex how he's feeling.
Yeah, okay, we'll start with that then. So let's keep all of these in mind as questions that you can use. Hi, Alex. I'm sure these guys want to know kind of what's going through your mind right now. How are you feeling?
I feel like a terrible person because I didn't realize the circumstances of what one night could do to your best friend.
One night or two. Did you guys had more than one, obviously. Do you even know how many you had?
I lost count.
What were you drinking?
Just everything we find in the kitchen.
Wow. Does that disturb anybody else? That makes me really uncomfortable. How many of you does that make you just feel a little bit weird? Raise your hands. Hands are down, yeah. Wow. Alex, what's going on with Diego?
Well, last time I talked to him, well, we not really talking that much, but last time I heard he was in a bad condition in the hospital. Maybe he has to go in a coma.
Maybe in a coma, okay. Anyone else questions that you think kids would want to ask if they weren't afraid? Yeah, Jen.
Diego, what made you do it? What made you say yes?
Diego, what made you do this? Why did you say yes? You were so determined to say no.
I guess because it was his time first, and I didn't think that I could have died from it.
And you're not dead.
But
What's wrong with you?
I'm in a coma.
Okay.
Go both ways.
It could go both ways. Good. Good? Yes?
I have a question for Mom.
Okay.
Had Diego ever gone drinking or gone parties or anything?
No.
Mom, the question is to you. And when an audience member directly asks a question, I like to just put a little buffer between you and it to give you a chance to, you already had your answer, but also to repeat it so everyone can hear, Mom, has he ever gone drinking or done anything like that before?
He's always just been the sweetest kid, you know, I mean, he's like my world. And he, like when he left, I didn't have to say, you know, be good or make good choices, you know, it's just one of those things that he does for himself. Like, he doesn't need me telling him to be good, to make good choices.
What about Alex? Your experience with Alex? I mean, when Alex walked out the door, he turned around and said, I love you.
Alex is like my second son. He's my son's best friend. I've known him since he was a very little boy. And, you know, same with him. He's always been just the sweetest kid, just really nice. And I didn't ever have to tell him or feel like I needed to tell them when they're together to be good. You know, they just did that themselves.
Why do you guys think these guys did this? Why do you think some kids might? I mean, these are, you know, straight arrows. It's not like they're sneaking around behind their parents' backs doing this every weekend. Why would they do something like this? I just wondering. Why do you think they would? Turn to your partner. See if you can figure out why they would do this. Yeah.
They're curious and experimenting.
I think you're probably right. How many of you came up with that as the answer? They were curious and they just were experimenting. Raise your hands. Yeah. pretty serious consequences to satisfy that curiosity, I would think. Anyone else have a question? Because I have a couple I'd like to ask if you don't. Alex?
Like, how do your friends feel?
I think that's a good place to start. This is a question to Alex's and Diego's friends. How are you feeling? What's going on for you guys right now?
Well, we don't really feel, we felt like we should have done something to stop him more, but we didn't know how at the time and how much he had drank, so.
Okay, all right.
I
Anyone
think that we
else?
kind of tried to like ignore it in a way because we didn't think that it would get as bad as it did, and we thought, oh well, other people have done it and they're fine. Other people have drank more than that, they've been fine, but that's not the case.
I want to point out, we're getting right to those teaching points. These are all things that they've talked about when they were planning this, that they wanted to teach. And now is an opportunity to drive those points home. Sarah, what about you?
We were more like just like disgusted by the fact that they were drinking, that we kind of just like didn't really acknowledge the fact that they're actually
How did you know he was in trouble?
Well, he smelled like vomit, and that's definitely not a good sign when someone starts puking from drinking.
Right, I would agree with you. What else kind of tripped your triggers?
When I went over to help him, to wake him up, his arms were cold, like really cold, and his lips were blue. He wasn't breathing very well.
He wasn't breathing very well. What was his breathing like?
And he was like barely breathing.
Okay, all right. Do you understand what was happening there?
Well, we knew he wouldn't be able to just sleep it off, but we didn't think it would be that bad.
Okay,
We knew we needed help.
okay. Yeah. Do you guys think obviously they did the right thing by calling 911. That took some real courage, I would think, because did you guys get in trouble?
Well, like, it wasn't like the best idea for us to like be there while they were drinking, but it was more like we didn't really get in trouble because like we actually did something.
I see.
It doesn't really matter whether or not we got in trouble because we're still feeling the consequences.
Okay, all right. Does anyone else have questions they'd like to ask the actors while they're still in character? Yes.
Diego, how do you feel being pressured by your best friend? Like, even though you told him no the first time, he kept pushing you?
I was like confused because I trusted him to like be a good kid and all. Me and him, like straight A students, sports, everything. And drinking, I never thought he'd do it. Never occurred to me. And then he asked me, and I guess he got to me.
That's the face of peer pressure, isn't it? Peer pressure is usually not from a stranger who comes up and says, come on, all the cool kids are doing it. It's a friend who wants you to participate with them in what it is they're doing. That's the face of peer pressure. Well, I'm going to ask the actors to step out of character. What we've done at this point is nicely done. Can we give them a hand? That was very nicely done. They demonstrated that we established the facts of the scene. We talked about how it feels for the audience. We talked about how the characters are feeling, and we focused in on the motivation. What drives people to make the kinds of decisions that they make? And now we're going to find the connection to the community. And how we do that is we're going to ask the actors to talk a little bit about what their experience has been in this area and why they chose to do a skit like this and what it was like putting a skit together like this. Some of the things that you learned. So I think I'd start by asking you guys, why did you choose this topic?
We just felt that drinking over drugs was more prevalent in our school, and even in younger ages in our school. We feel that like kids are more likely to be tempted and more likely to go out drinking than they are trying to do drugs. So we wanted to do that topic. And then we also wanted to portray that kids who may seem like really good kids or like the star athletes and stuff can still be affected by something like this.
And your whole community was affected. And even a kid who's a straight arrow can be tempted. I liked that you focused on that as well. Another question that you might ask them out of character is, if you had to leave them with these guys with one important message, from your heart, anybody, what would you like to leave them with? And each of you can come up with kind of something that you think is important.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Good. Anybody else? I mean, I would say everybody could get a chance to talk at this point.
You need to think for yourself because other people are going to pressure you in so many different areas into things that you're not going to want to do. And if you even start sort of swaying towards what they're trying to get you to do if you didn't want to, then you need to sort of step back and just be like, this isn't what I would do.
Anybody else? I love it. Do you see how powerful this is? Can you imagine, like 7th graders hearing her say that after seeing this scene? That's what processing is for, is giving you guys really the opportunity, because they're listening to you in a way that they will never listen to me. And it's not that I don't have a place in this process, and that Janet doesn't have a place, and Erin doesn't have a place, and Jackie doesn't have a place. We all have a place in this process, but you guys have a place. And now is your opportunity to stand up and take your place. And you just rocked it out for me. Anything else that you can think of that might be effective to share with a scene like this, you guys? Because some of you have done this processing. I think we kind of hit.
Well, and I have a question because as an adult, I rarely drink. I mean, I'm of age, but I rarely do it. And a lot of my students in my class ask me about that.
Mm-hmm.
And would that be something that would be, something I would put in there as a little tidbit that, you know what, I'm an adult. And I've made the choice, and I'm still sticking to this choice years later because, tell them about a mistake I made in college. And then, would that be as an adult? Granted, they're not going to listen to me, but now I made the choice to.
Oh, I think if you talk about it that way, they'll listen to you.
Because we hear them, and these kids are, when they're telling me, they're like, well, we don't go out and drink. I ask, I go, come on, guys, you can tell me if we're at a party, blah, blah, blah. And, we don't have that, but I know my personal mistake, huge mistake, and now I don't do it at all because of that. Okay. And if we don't have that kind, can it come from you?
I think it could. Now, I don't know what research tells us, but I think if you were of age and you made a choice and there were consequences, it's very different you talking about this, and I think they will listen, than it would be having underage kids talk about it. We know that research shows having kids get up and talk about, do a skit like this, and then talk about how when they go out and get drunk, it's different, or they used to go out and get drunk all the time, and they've been sober for a week. We've had kids who think that it's appropriate to share that kind of information. We encourage kids not to share that they don't use and not to share that they do, but to say, we understand why you're curious about that. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't make any, my line with this is, it doesn't make any difference if these kids use or don't use. It's what you're doing that's really the question. And we understand that you're curious about that. And so there are some groups that choose to say, none of us use. There are some groups that choose that answer that I just gave. And there are some groups that are recovering groups, like Sober Highs, where they talk about being heroin addicts, and they talk about the experience of being a drug addict or an alcoholic. But it's appropriate because they're coming in as those individuals in recovery. And yes, in answer to that first question, I think it would be most appropriate. What do you guys think? You're professionals in the field. To have an adult say, when I was in college, I made a mistake.
I think that part is appropriate. I think that when, professionals talk about their college experiences of drinking or smoking pot and don't kind of qualify it with that, then the tendency is to say, well, look at you, you turned out okay and you did all of those things.
Yes, if there's no consequence associated with it. Right. And so I think it does need to be
And there, I love that, there is a huge consequence. So I think if I say the consequence, then...
And it depends on how comfortable you are sharing that,
yeah,
too.
and I've shared with tons of my classes, so...
And obviously, it's had an impact on you guys when you've shared it. She's shared it. They don't know.
I was like,
because
I could say it
I think we should ask her.
Coming out. Yeah, very good.
You know what, Janet? I think, we're speaking in the abstract. Why don't you...